what's up guys? Houston here. For those of you just finding my YouTube channel, welcome. Please remember to hit that subscribe button and that bell, and if you find value, give me a thumbs up. Now, today's video, we're talking about trade lines, and of course we have our guests in the background, but today we're talking about trade lines in reference to how many trade lines does it take to get a 100-point score boost, right? But here's something interesting that you may want to know. How many trade lines does it take to get a perfect credit score? Well, the answer is 1. That's all you need, is 1 trade line to get a perfect credit score. Now, you're like scratching your head to get a perfect credit score. So you're talking about what? Between a 760 to 850, right? Perfect credit score. Now, here's the interesting thing about that. It's not enough. Even though you have a perfect credit score with 1 trade line, it's not enough trade lines on the file. Now, we're also going to talk about what's the most valuable trade lines that you can actually put on your credit file. Okay? Now, here's the thing so you can understand. In reference to if you have bad credit and say you have negative items, for every 1 negative item, you need between 2 to 3 positive trade lines on your credit file. That's right. For every 1 negative item, you need between 2 to 3 positive trade lines on your credit file. Okay? That helps balance it out, the negative. Now, here's something I want you all to understand. We had a client just got out of prison and we was working with him, okay? And because he never had a credit file, we added all these authorized users. So when we added all these authorized users, guess what? He had perfect credit. But guess what lenders looked at? They would not accept it, okay? They wasn't going to accept it, okay? Because there was no primary trade lines on the credit file. All right, even though he had a high credit score in the 700 plus, but because they were all authorized users, they were like, no, we're not going to accept the file. All right, now the reason I said it is because I know a lot of people, when they go to boosting up their credit score, I always tell them to add authorized users. But one of the things that you have to be mindful of, how many authorized users should you be adding to a credit file? Well, the reality is you should not do no more than 2 authorized users, max 3. But I try to keep my clients under 2. The reason is, with other lenders, when they're looking at your credit file and they see that you have 3, 4, 5 authorized users, they're like, hey, this is a padded file, okay? So that's not looking good for you, and you still can be denied even though you have a high credit score. Now, I'll tell you something else. If you're a person that's looking to try to get a mortgage, okay, especially with FHA mortgage, guess what? If you have authorized users on your file, they will ask you to remove those authorized users, okay, in order for them to see what your real credit score is like. So you would have to remove those trade lines, those authorized user trade lines, in order to apply for that FHA mortgage. Okay, with conventional, sometimes conventional, they will work with you with maybe 1 or 2 authorized users. But with FHA, to my understanding from experience over the years, if you have authorized users on the file, you have to get them removed. Now, for some of you all that had authorized users removed, here's something that you need to understand. 1, if somebody adds you on as a authorized user for a trade line, if they're over that 30% threshold, that's going to hurt you, okay? That's going to hurt you as the individual. All right, here's another thing. Say that your spouse or loved one just got a new open account and they add you on as a authorized user. Guess what? That's going to hurt you as well, okay? So you do not want just somebody adding you onto a new trade line, and you do not want somebody adding you onto a authorized user trade line that's over 30%. Okay, so just keep that in mind because it's very important. Now, moving on, the types of trade lines you should have. You have three types of trade lines you should have. You should have a secured trade line, unsecured trade line, and a revolving trade line. So your secured trade line would be like a car loan, a boat loan, or something like that. Your unsecured trade line is like your student loan, okay? And your revolving trade line is like your credit cards and your department store cards. Now, as I was saying, which one is more valuable? Well, the reality of it is your unsecured trade lines are the most valuable trade lines on your credit file. That's right, because with unsecured, that means larger loans, right? And in terms of the larger the loan, like student loans and stuff like that, if they're unsecured, that looks better on the credit file, okay, than the secured with the car loan. Now, I'm going to tell you something that's going to help you. If you only have a car loan and you have revolving accounts like credit cards and stuff, and you pay that car loan off, your credit score can drop at least 40% as well. All right, so you have to just keep in mind, if I'm going to pay off my car loan, in order to keep my credit score up, then I need to add on another type of loan. And it sucks because it looks like it's just keeping you more in debt, but that's how your credit file is calculated, through revolving, unsecured, secured loans and stuff, in order for you to actually keep a perfect credit score. Now, here's something else. You ever wonder why people with a 700 plus credit score get denied? Well, there's two factors that may happen. One, well, actually three, okay? The number one reason is that they may have a block on their credit file. Yeah, that's the number one reason a lot of people, even with a 700 credit score, they get denied, because they may have a block on their credit file, all right? So if you're trying to apply for credit, make sure that you unfreeze your credit before you apply for credit, all right? That's number one. Number two is they may have their debt to income ratio is too high. See, with the banks will go up between 50 to 55% debt to income ratio. Now, with third-party companies, fintech companies, some of the fintech companies like Upstart, Upgrade, Universal Credit and stuff like that, for those type of lenders, what they will work with you, they would go up from 70 to 75% debt to income ratio. All right, so in terms of, if you have a high debt to income ratio and you say that you're trying to get a personal loan or something like that, and then you have a 700 plus credit score, or even just a 680 credit score to be exact, then you probably want to look at Upstart, Upgrade, Universal Credit for those type of loans, okay? And there are other third-party lenders out there that don't look at debt to income ratio. All right, now here's another thing that can deny you: too many inquiries, okay? We talked about Chase, okay? I made a video and I'll put the link below, but we talked about Chase and their 524 rule, right? So that 524 rules means that you can only have 5 open accounts within a 24-month period, all right? And so if you go over that, Chase will deny you, all right? Now, here's the interesting thing about that. That's for revolving cards. That's what they reference in reference to revolving cards, but like if it's a personal loan, they don't calculate that. Interesting, right? So that being said, now you know and understand about your debt to income ratio. Now, one of the other things, like I said, is back to the inquiries. The inquiries, once you get over that 6 to 8 inquiries per credit bureau, not all 3 credit bureaus, per credit bureau, then you are in the danger zone of being denied as well. Okay, so you want to try to keep your inquiries low per credit bureau, at least between 6 and 8. All right, if you go above that 8 inquiry per credit bureau, then you are potentially in danger zone. Now, there are some lenders out there that are not inquiry sensitive, that still will work with you if you have over 8 inquiries. But at the same time, for most of them, the majority of them, if you have 8 or more inquiries, you have a higher chance of being denied. All right. Now, if you have any questions about business credit funding, personal credit funding, click the link in the description. Thank you.